Hi everyone, how are you today? Welcome to your English lesson today. Okay, let's recap. Before we begin, can you name the 4 capital cities of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland? Think back to when we did this in our geography before Christmas time, okay? So on your worksheet, I want you to write down the capital of each one of these areas. If you can't remember, that's okay. Just try and have a good think. Maybe talk to the person in the room as well. Pause the video here. Have a go at that now. Okay, welcome back. Shall we see if you got them correct? So for each of these countries that make up our UK, let's have a look at their capital cities. So for the first one, London is the capital of England. Did you get that? Well done. And Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. Fantastic. Wales, can you remember? Cardiff, that's it. Brilliant. Well done. And then Northern Ireland, begin with a B, Belfast, that's right. Fantastic. Now, I wanted you to remember these because when we're going to be doing our weather report, it's key to talk about the different cities within each of the countries that make up the UK. So it's really important that we can talk about in Scotland, Edinburgh has sunny weather. And in England, down in London, they're finding that they're having rain. So we're going to be using this as our language as we go on this week. Now, also, I wanted to go through with you again, because I know some of you were finding it a little bit tricky with the compass points. So for the children that were finding this a little bit tricky, and I know, Ibrahim, you were too, weren't you? Yeah, so I'm going to go through this with you now. So we've got our compass points. Now, remember our 4 main compass points. The one at the top is north. The one at the bottom is south. Can you remember the one that's on, or let me see, this way? It's east. And the next one is west. So we've got north, east, south, west. Then it's these points in between that are proving a little bit tricky. So we're going to have a look at those again. So here we've got north and here we've got east. Now the one in between this one would be north, east, okay? It's because it's in between the north and the east. But because north is the first point that we come to there, if we go slightly off to the side, it's going to be north, east, okay? Then also, if we think here, we wouldn't have east, south, because south is our point going straight down, okay? So if we think about our point like that, imagine this is our north and this is our south. These are the 2 main points that we're going to be focusing on, all right? So if we come off slightly, it's either going to be north, something, something, or south, something, or something. Okay, so here on this one, between south and east, in between south and east, it's going to be southeast. All right. Then if we look round again here, we've got south and we've got west. What do you think this one might be here? Southwest. Excellent. Well done. And then here we've got west and north. Are we going to have west north or northwest? Remember, our 2 main points are the north and the south. What do you think that point might be there? That's right, it's northwest. Now, when we're looking at our map, which we're going to do a little bit later, we need to think about if we've got north at the top, south at the bottom, west at the one side, east at the other side. Imagine if we were going off like a V, okay? And what would be in the middle of that V? So if we were going up to the north and out to the east, what would be in the middle there? It'd be northeast, wouldn't it? Okay. Hopefully that helps. If not, and you think you're getting a little bit stuck again, come back to this video or have a look over the geography video or the video from yesterday again. All right? Okay. So today, children, got lots to do. Today we're going to be noticing the difference between formal and informal language. And to be successful at this, you're going to be using the correct terminology. That means the correct words, the correct vocabulary when talking about the weather. Also, to be successful, that you're going to be able to use a formal style of language when introducing the weather forecast. And we're going to talk about what the difference is between formal and informal. Because the next point is, I can use an informal style of language when discussing the weather. And I know that sometimes the language needs to be formal when talking about particular weather fronts. Okay. When we're going to be doing our weather report, so in the next couple of days, we're going to be writing it and then creating it. We're going to use a mixture of formal and informal language because a weather report is made up of both of those types of languages. But we need to identify what's the formal and what's the informal. So I've got a couple of things to show you here. All right. Okay. So what are formal and informal language? I wonder if you know. Oh, do you know what is formal language? What is informal language? Pause the video here. Just jot some ideas down or talk to the person in the room. Okay. Did you have a chat? Did you jot some notes down? What did you decide? Okay, let's see if you were correct or on the right lines. So formal language is used for more official and serious purposes, and the correct grammar should always be used. I changed my voice there to make it very formal. And informal language, an informal situation and informal writing are more relaxed and casual and chatty, like how when we have a chat at school. So slang words and abbreviations are acceptable. So imagine if you were speaking like you were texting, sometimes that can be acceptable. All right. So we've got formal. So it's very specific vocabulary for the subject. So it's exactly what the vocabulary is for that exact topic. We use the correct grammar and punctuation. We have a very serious tone when we're talking in our formal voice. But when we think about informal, we use more contractions and abbreviations. So, for example, it's instead of it is, and TV instead of television. Okay? It's clear and to the point. We can use different types of language instead of just using a precise language. It's a bit like you're having a chat with your friend. Because when you have a chat with your friend, you kind of say words in a silly way, don't you? You just have a chat and it just rolls off your tongue. You don't think, I need to make sure I'm saying exact right words. And we use cliches sometimes, like raining cats and dogs. It's not really raining cats and dogs, but sometimes people might say that. But if you were talking to somebody very important, you wouldn't say things like that. Okay, so formal language and informal language are more suited for different situations. So we're going to have a little look here at sorting the following situations into the correct place on the table. So we have got some different times when you might be talking or writing formally or informally. So for example, presenting an award, talking to the head teacher, writing a letter of complaint, talking to friends, talking on the phone to your gran, writing an email to your cousin, writing a report, sending a text to a friend, or writing a diary. Now, I wonder if you could decide which ones belong in formal and which ones belong in informal. Now, if you want to, you can pause the video here and rewrite each one, but you don't have to. Get an adult in the room to read each one to you again, and you can just write next to it a F for formal or an I for informal, okay? Pause the video here. Have a go at that now. How did you get on there? All right, brilliant. So let's see if you were correct. I'm going to move them down now, all right? So talking to the head teacher, well, that's very informal, isn't it? If you were going to speak to Mr. Day, you would make sure you were really smart and you were ready to tell him exactly what you wanted to say about something very specific. You wouldn't chat to him like you were chatting to your friend in the classroom. And when you're presenting an award, do you remember when we used to have achievement assemblies on a Friday? The teachers used to come out to the front and they would speak in very, very formal language. They would tell everybody what the person has done and how fabulous they were and exactly what they had been achieving in the classroom. It wasn't like they were just having a chat to the other teachers. Writing a letter of complaint. Now, I don't think you would have done this yet, Year 1, but I'm sure somebody in your house might have had to write a letter of complaint. And there you have to be very, very clear on what you want to say, using the correct language and vocabulary. Writing a report. So think back to when the teachers have to write your parents' evening reports. We have to think very clearly, what is it I want to say about that child? And be very specific about the things we want to say. It's not like we're going to be writing in text talk, because that wouldn't be okay, would it? So then let's think about the informal language, the more relaxed style of talking. So you use informal language when you're talking to your friends because you're relaxed and you don't need to be all formal and posh then. When you're talking on the phone to somebody in your family, you just chat away to them, don't you? When you're writing an email to your cousin, often you'll chat about all the lovely things you've been up to. And sometimes you might even use like text talk in there. And when you send a text to your friend, you might use the acronym LOL and things like that. And when you write in your diary about what you've been up to, all the lovely things you've been experiencing, you wouldn't write in a formal way. You'd write it in an informal, chatty way. All right then, let's move on. So here I've got a couple of words that we might use formally or informally when reporting the weather. So I have got this on your worksheet, and what I'd like you to do is match. So I'm going to go through them. There's precipitation, sullen, sufficient, opportunity, and equable. And then the informal words, so they mean the same. And what I want you to do is work out which words mean the same. So you're going to join them up. All right. So I've got the words chance, enough, rain, pleasant, unpleasant. Okay. So I've got the formal words on the one side and the informal words on the other side. You might need to get an adult to help you read the words again. And then you might need to have a talk with them to work out which ones you think might match. So they mean the same, they're just different words. Do you remember we talked about synonyms before? That's like this now. Pause the video here, have a go at that. Okay, welcome back. How did you get on with that? Was it a bit tricky? Okay, let's see. We're going to mark together now. So precipitation, that's a really formal word for rain. Now, you could use the word precipitation in your weather report, or you could use the word rain. You can decide. If you want to make it more formal, we would use the word precipitation. Now, the word sullen. Sullen means unpleasant, not very nice, a bit dark and gloomy. So we've got the word sullen, or we've got the word unpleasant. It was a bit unpleasant, the weather today. The weather today was very sullen. Can you see the difference there? Now we've got the word sufficient. There was sufficient sunshine for the day. There was enough sunshine today to make us happy. Can you see the difference there? Brilliant. Opportunity. There is an opportunity to go out for a picnic today. There's a chance to go for a picnic today. And equable. The weather today was equable. The weather today was pleasant. Could you see how that was different? I'm going to stop the video here because we're going to go over to part 2 now. Okay.